I got a lot. Lou?
The biggest takeaway for me was just meeting the people. Honestly, the friends I've made, the people I've met, that's the biggest thing I took away from TV. And you know, well, my bucket list is pretty much done, so I can't complain about that.
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing that I took away from that I think I was pretty surprised and shocked that people even liked me or wanted to watch anything that I did. I think you know, you doing it on the inside, you know, behind the cameras and stuff, you don't realize what's going to happen, right, until you see it. And so, you know, a little bit of what Lou said, I'm just grateful that we were able to touch so many people's hearts, right? We were able to put stuff out there that, for the most part, people liked. You know, I think we had a good following base, and you know, from what the ratings that we saw were, you know, people loved it, people liked it, and so I just learned that you know, when you do your best and try to just go out there and do your best at that time with what you have and what you need to do. There's going to be very few people that will judge you, and if you have a good heart and you try to do it, you know, for the people, try to help people that otherwise they wouldn't be able to do it. I think for the most part you're going to get pretty positive results, you know, all the time.
Yeah.
So I just, you know, I took away that you know, if you do those things, you know, people, it will show in people's reaction.
Yeah, and that filters all the way through every aspect of life, man. So yeah, it's great.
No, do you need a little more time?
What's that?
Do you need a little more time?
No, I feel like I've got it all together.
Okay.
I think I'm gonna ramble.
I was gonna say one thing if you need a little more time.
Well, so the thing that I don't know what it is. I think it touches my heart. But like we said we'd do that show. We had no idea what we were doing. We were as green as, you know, grass. They came in out of nowhere one day, and it was a film crew, and they just started. They were like, "All right, let's come up with a plan. Like, we're gonna make this show." Like, we knew they were coming, but there was nothing. There was no. Charles spent like hours every night writing out these detailed schedules with one of the producers, but without that, it would have been nothing. But we had no plan. So I feel like one of the biggest predictors for like success in somebody's life is perseverance. And in order to make that show, we had to build, we had like 10 full builds in 7 months. And in order for that to happen, we had to take a team of people who were a really good team, and we had to make those people into the most incredible team on the planet. And, you know, we work normally like it's 40 to 60 hours on average. But to make it all happen, it was 100 hours a week. You know, so we worked Monday through Sunday, never went home. We'd go home, sleep a few hours. You know, it was insane. But to watch that collective of people come together and build all those cars was simply incredible. And when that gives me the warm fuzzy feeling when I look back. It's cool. It's an amazing thing. I don't know if we're able to replicate that again. We're trying to get a build out the door. Everybody's like, you know, up all night trying to make it happen, get it to the show. It would be cool to be a part of something like that again, you know, where people came together like that on such a crazy level, but I also don't think it would be healthy. So people were, you know, it wasn't really safe. People were exhausted. They were, you know, they were missing their families, they missed vacations, you know, but in the end they came together and they made something. Nobody believed they could actually make it happen when we started. You know, they're like, this is nuts. Do you know this, Noah? Did you sign us up for this? I'm like, hey, yes, but no. So anyway, it was cool. It was a
Well, that's kind of awesome. And yeah, so everybody's got the stories about that. We've all been under the gun. You know, for the Power Block shows, that show existed before I got there. The format was there before I got there. The timing of it, because the shows had to be very specifically produced to fit into a slot in the big network wheel. So we had it was doled out to us. And we used to, one of my jobs at first was to write the scripts. And, you know, I'd write out the script because our season was 24 episodes, and Luke can attest to this. That's more than twice as much as a typical TV studio. And we were working like dogs, and we didn't have a backup crew. We were the beat crew, so we did all our own work off camera as well. So it was a ton of work, so labor of love to say the least. But one of my jobs was to write the scripts, and then we go in, we have a little production meeting that took 10 minutes and have a cup of coffee, and then we're off to the races. And Steve Mank was standing right here, was an old school power block guy as well, and so Steve knows this well. So it took about 2 weeks for that to burn off, because by the end of the first segment, the script is out the window, because when we're building cars, and you guys know this, something comes up and something changes your plan, and you've got a diversion, and you're going to, so those hours that I spent writing scripts meant nothing, because after segment 1, it was all out the window. So what we said, but it was the best thing in the world. So, you know, what we started doing was doing segment 1, 2, 3, 4. Because in a 30-minute show, we have 22 and a half minutes of content, and we have 4 segments, right? The hour-long shows, I think you guys had 6, 8 segments, something. Anyway, but we have to have it all pre-planned before we start. So the best thing that ever happened to us was the chaos of actually installing parts that you've never seen before and doing a project. And we had long-term builds that took 2 and 3 seasons to finish. So all the stuff that happens to actual real guys happened to us. So we started bullet pointing. Segment 1, wheels and tires. Segment 2, brakes. Segment 3, bleed the system, pressure testing. And segment 4, roll it down the hallway, see if it works, right? And when we got loose like that, when we stopped being scripted, we stopped being performers. And when we stopped being performers, we were able to actually do what we were doing. And that was the best thing in the world, because honestly we were exhausted, and you guys can relate, and it allowed us to be ourselves, who we are. And let's face it, none of us signed up to be an actor. I've heard you talk about, you know, actors and stuff like that. Look at the wrinkle on your brow. And none of us are actors. We didn't sign up for television shows to be Brad Pitt, right? But we funneled it down, as did you guys, to being who you are. And if you're credible, if you know what you're doing, if you're not talking out of both sides of your mouth, then you're going to build a following and you're going to last. And if you're full of crap and I don't know what you're talking about, and if you are an actor, because I've worked with some, then it's going to show itself pretty quickly. So it cleans out the garbage pretty quick.
So I just got to tell you guys this. One of the biggest things that I took away, and I should have said it before, and then I'll be done. The people you touch. The people that you touch doing this, like for me, that is the craziest thing in the world. I was in a food line in Tennessee one day, getting something to drink or eat or whatever, and this guy comes up to me and he says, "Are you in the Senate?" I'm like, "Yeah." He goes, "Man, I gotta thank you." I'm like, "For what?" And he just looks at me kind of weird, because I didn't know where he was going with it. And he said to me, "If it wasn't for me watching your show, I would have never thought to get a good floor jack and get a good set of jack stands, and now I change my own oil. My dad used to take the car out to be serviced. That's what I did." This guy was 35 years old at the time. And he thanked me for just something that we take for granted, changing our own oil.
And we resent it.
Right, and I wouldn't, and it still gets me, like when people come up to me and say, "It's because of you I got into cars." To me, that's the biggest way of giving back that any of us could ever expect. And I think I speak for all of us when I say that. You don't expect it. It's one thing to get thanked for building a car for somebody, but it's a totally different thing when you push somebody into a career field that they were never expecting.
Yeah.
To me, that is the biggest compliment, takeaway, whatever you want to call it. That's the thing for me that makes it all worth it, because I have no desire to go back to TV. I have zero desire to do it.
Well, my part of that is that when I started on the truck show in Power Block, Joe St. Lawrence was the owner of that company. He was single-handedly invented automotive how-to television. Joe Singh was a great guy to work with, and he was still with the company and owned the company when I left that show. But he sat us down in his office and he said, "Hey guys, here's what we're doing here. Yes, we have Summit Racing, we use Matco tools, we have Borla exhaust and Magnaflow exhaust and Flowmaster exhaust and all the things, all the sponsors that keep the lights on in that." He said, "This show is not about you. This is not your show, Kevin. And this show is not about the parts. This is about the people that are watching, and we're not selling parts. We're not selling your personality." And it was a very humbling discussion because it was important. And he said, "It's not about you, it's not about the parts, it's about the people watching it, and we're not selling anything else but hope. We're selling inspiration. We're holding up parts and talking about them, but the thing that you guys need to realize is what we want to give back is a little bit of hope, a little bit of inspiration, some insight, and pass on some tech skills that you've learned along the way." And that was our mantra for that. So, and we've been criticized for being too squeaky clean, how-to, and all that kind of stuff, but I like how-to, I don't care. But that was always in the back of my mind. We're selling hope. We're selling inspiration. We're hoping that somebody can, like Lou, get empowered and change their own oil. The last time I didn't have time to do it, my wife took the car in to get the oil changed, and they upsold her on a filter, and it cost her $140.
For a cabin air filter.
Yeah.
It was a really nice one though.
So I taught my wife how to change the oil. No, for real. So that kind of crystallizes that for me. So that was my mantra in television. It ain't about me. I happen to be there and I can talk about it, but it's never been my show. Anyway, anybody got anything to add? Any weird stuff happen that you want to share with anybody on TV? The ceiling falling on anybody?
Steve, May, you have the floor.
So if it's okay with you guys, let's get some questions from the people out here watching. If you want to come up a little bit closer so we can hear you. And Jason's got, please give a warm round of applause for Jason Chandler from Ohio. Jason. He's our supermodel and stunt double. But if anybody's got any questions, raise your hand. Jason will come over to you, and and anything goes. We don't care. Ask us anything. All we can tell you is no.
Well, I just want to say one thing real quick because I've been privileged to work with just about everybody out there. You guys are absolutely right. The best thing to come out of everyone that we all know, and everybody out here knows, from doing TV is the relationships with people that we do projects for. Like on Tim's show, where we built cars for specific people for specific.
That was the search and restore.
That gives back. That give back. And Kevin worked on that too. Those give backs and those people's reactions and the relationships that come from them, absolutely the best thing that came out of television.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I just want to tell you that because it's true. Absolutely true.
Yeah, well said, well said. And somebody that was way smarter than me a long time ago said that this is not a parts business, this is not a car business, this is a relationship business. And if you build relationships, you're going to have success. And that takes a lot of work from both sides. So yeah, that's words of wisdom, mate.
Steve made the Batmobile. Steve, tell him about the Batmobile, the A-Team van, the Fall Guy truck. Steve Mank. Yes.
Captain Batman. That's Steve Mank. Yes.
Yeah, these guys are big. I'm an old man at this, and I've been very fortunate, very fortunate to get to do a lot of things because of what we can all do with these. But yeah, I came up and started getting a lot of credibility back in the 80s when every TV show and every movie had a vehicle. So I got to work and build on stuff like the General Lee, the Night Riders, the A-Team bands. Myself and a couple of colleagues with Ohio Productions and did movie cars, like Pete Batmobiles and stuff. And I mean, it's just, but I still build cars every day in my shop at home. When I'm off the road, I am low key. I hide in my shop and train, and my wife, she works in the shop.
Your heels are on the ground. You're a real person, right?
It's just, nothing has changed me. I still love doing it for people.
Yeah. Well, 6 degrees of separation from Steve Mank. The whole lot of industries connected together. So, all right. Anybody else got a question about TV? Yes, sir.
You got a question on which side?
Hey, who took the mic? Andy's running around.
I'm getting questions.
Okay, I'm sorry.
What's my job? I do have a question, Kevin, for you. How many times have you had to hit the dump button on Lou so far?
None.
Yeah, this question.
No, Lou's been incredibly well behaved today. And I've always said Lou Santiago's got 2 speeds, and one of them is stopped. So no, we haven't had to hit the censor button on Lou at all. It's been pretty PG, so I'm proud of you, man.
I'm sure you did this question plenty about. What's your favorite build that you've done over the years?
Who's this directed to?
Everybody.
Everybody. What's your favorite build? Okay, we all gotta have it, right?
What, build on TV or just build in general?
TV.
On TV.
My favorite build that we were doing was the 70 Hemi Challenger. The overkill. And the only reason why, and this is what made it really cool for me, because I remember we needed an engine for it, and this is what really tripped my trigger. They had just released the old Hemi again, back in, was it 03? And we're trying to figure out what engine we're going to put in it. And Bush Bass, the sales guy, comes and was like, "Lou, I hear you're looking to put an engine in this thing." I'm like, "Yeah." He goes, "Call this number, the guy's waiting for you." So I call this guy, there's no name on it. He's like, "Lou, been expecting your call, what are you thinking about for an engine?" "Well, I heard Chrysler just released that 426. He goes, "How about a 528? I'm like, "Okay." Next thing you know, there's a Hemi in the shop.
Cool. Shorty, favorite TV build, man?
I think, I don't think I can single one out because they're all my favorites, but I think that I'll go back to the first one. This was on TV because I had a lot of personal builds, but this was our first episode, and we built it for a veteran and his son. His son wanted to build it for his father, and he had several stops along the way, several different shops, and he came to me and he said, "I want this to be the last stop. If you guys can't do it, then I'm just gonna leave it the way it is." So we took the truck, and it wasn't anything tremendously special or nothing, but it's just close to me because he was a veteran. He had issues with Agent Orange when he was there. He was slowly losing his eyesight. That was one of the important things of his son, that he wanted to get it done so he could drive. He could still drive it, obviously during the day. He could drive at night, but I think that had to be one of my favorites. If I kind of go back to a TV and one of my favorite builds.
Yeah.
And I just want to touch a little bit on what Lou said a while ago about people walking up to you or emailing you, whatever. You have no idea how many people, and this is inspiration for us, right? This is we take it personal when people walk up to you, write you an email or whatever, and say, I had a project in my garage, it's been sitting in there for 4 or 5 years, and then I ran into your show and I watched it, and I got off my ass and went to the garage and started working on it. And because of you, I got off the couch and I started working on it, and I'm getting my car done. And that's what we take seriously. When we hear stuff like that, and we obviously think of it that there's a purpose for us.
Well, it tells us that we're on the right track, that we've done something right, and we showed them something that was inspiring, or they picked up some knowledge. So it's a beautiful, beautiful thing.
Yeah, it's definitely a beautiful thing to hear, and that you inspired someone.
Yeah.
Mark has some real quick.
Well, yeah, I know what you mean, because I've had a car that's been in my garage for 11 years. I still have got one Mitsubishi starting on 88 starting. Chrysler Conquest.
Noah, Charles, favorite build? Anything?
So,
The next one?
Don't choose the one I was going to choose, but I'm not going to tell you which one.
I think I know which one. No, a lot of our builds on the TV show are condensed versions of what we normally do, because we didn't have time to do, like that Charger build we couldn't have done on our TV show. We didn't have time to do that. But one that stands out from our show for me, we did a 72 Chevelle for a guy. And when he came in to start the project, he had a set of keys and he had a shifter handle. And he goes, this is funny, this is all he had. He didn't have a car. And he goes, "I wrecked my Chevelle when I was a young man, and I want to build a Chevelle, and I want this shifter handle to be in this car." And he goes, "I know you can't make the keys work, but I thought it was cool that I still had the keys." So we found a Chevelle for him. We built him a a 72 Chevelle on a chassis with IRS, and we did an LS9, which was kind of a special engine, ZR1 engine at the time. And it was just, it was a fun build to do with the guy. He truly wanted to go out and enjoy the car. So I think, that process with him, getting to relive his childhood or his youth, and the build turned out really well. It had a lot of power, and we checked all the boxes for the guy. It was also fun because his other favorite car was a Ferrari, so he said, hey, the challenge was to try to make his car drive like his Ferrari or perform like his Ferrari. So we had a big, it was an uphill challenge for us, but it was a fun show to produce. We went over to a local guy's collection, the Ferrari collection that he had, and on the show we got inspiration from his cars. And, then we built this Chevelle, and the whole process was good. The customer was great, so that was probably my favorite of the whole season.
Awesome. Anything to add to that?
Well, that's not the one I was going to choose. Everyone always said that one of the focuses of our show was like, you'd always watch the shows and you'd be like, that car couldn't freaking drive out of the back of that shop. It's not done, And that wasn't always the case, but everybody would always say that. So we were like, well, we're gonna build cars, and there's gonna be an elaborate test drive scene at the end of every show, which really screwed us because they had to work, and it made it that much harder. But we built a 3100 for a couple from Chicago, and they go everywhere in that truck. I think they almost have, is it like 50,000 miles on it?
Yeah, they're pushing.
They've done like about 50,000 miles since it was completed in their truck, which is cool. And you see people do that, but a lot of people just don't have the time, and or maybe it's not reliable enough. But that thing's gone 50,000 miles, and it's pretty cool to see them enjoy it that way. So still looks good. They're pretty particular.
Well, my favorite saying is there's more paint in the can. Get some rock chips on that sucker, drive it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And those people bring that truck back yearly for paint touch-ups and service. And, I mean, they ran over rocks and boulders, and they really
and that's
use this thing.
the best reason to build one is for somebody to actually use. Yeah. So for me, our model was different. Power Block was not a shop; we were a studio. And the vehicles that we worked on, for the most part, were owned by the studio. We had every once in a while a manufacturer would bring a vehicle in and all that stuff. So I'm kind of jealous of you guys having that outreach for clients, and for TC who's had that experience. But there's a truck that came to mind because I was restricted, and honestly, I'm not just a truck guy, I'm a car guy also. But the one build that we did, it was me and Ryan Shan was my co-host, and we had different skill sets. Ryan was an ace mechanic and a chassis fab guy, and I'm a paint and body fabrication. So we worked well together, we worked off of each other. But this little truck we built, we bought a piece of garbage Ford Ranger, and we turned it into the baddest road race truck I've ever seen and driven. And it was really interesting because we did things like we stretched the front suspension forward to get weight bias back. And so Ryan worked hand in hand with a suspension design company, and he was out of his learning curve with that, but we worked with actual suspension engineers with that, figuring that out. And I had to make the body match that extended wheelbase, so I had to work my magic on that. We talked to road race crews, and I figured out how to make NACA ducts in the side to have functional brake cooling ducts. We did a Ford Cobra IRS, grafted it into the frame, which we then boxed, and we did all the really interesting stuff. And it was one of the builds that pushed me the farthest out of my comfort zone, out of my little lane and my niche, which it was very powerful and very important for me because it took me out of my little safe space, right? And and with our shows, we test drive them on TV, and if we die in a fiery wreck in the median, it's our own fault because we didn't tighten the bolts up. So that was the vehicle. It was not only a cool project to do, but we got to drive it. We took it to Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway, which is one of the oldest actual racetracks in the country. It started in 1903 as a dirt track. All of the NASCAR guys, Dale Earnhardt used to test his cars there. Sterling Marlin still tests his cars there. It's an unbelievable racetrack. It's a high bank, small oval. I got to drive on a speedway with that, and Ryan is a road racer. He's a SCCA licensed driver, so he gave me driving lessons on not only the road course and the infield, but that. So that was my favorite build, honestly, because it stretched me. It woke me up. It opened me up and cracked my brain on a lot of different things that I didn't want to go near because I was afraid of it. So for me, I don't know, getting out of my comfort zone was really awesome, and it empowered me on a lot of things. So yeah, for whatever that's worth, I liked it. Yeah.
We have one question from this young man right here. Young man, don't be nervous, sir. Don't be nervous, go ahead.
So, yeah, I just wanted to thank you guys for, when people reach out to you guys, answering those questions, whether it's email or text or like that. I mean, I probably message Kevin at least once a month, or if not, call you or something like that. Part of the communication system and everything now. But that really gives us the confidence to, do what we do. So, without that confidence, my car never would have been a SEMA car or anything like that. I'm really happy to have my car here today on display.
Yeah.
Mostly because you guys have given me confidence responding to you guys like, hey, these guys are TV guys. They'll actually respond and answer questions. Giving me the confidence to post that stuff on social media and give other people those answers as well. So I just wanted to say thank you guys for, getting back to people who may sometimes feel like it's a dumb question. So.
Yeah, well, David, thank you. This is David Truck, by the way. The yellow Super Bee over there is his. He built that car. It's a hand-built car, and it's bad to the bone. So David, he's one of us. He's a boots-on-the-ground builder, and this kind of brings it full circle. So, yeah, automotive television, it's gone. Cable TV's gone, but now we have social media. We've got YouTube. One of the things that we never had on the cable shows was a way to answer questions back. Not really. We received some of the emails. We didn't get our fan mail. We were in the box working. Now today, and this is the perfect circle back, kind of the wrap up of this. Now we have this free mechanism with affordable gear and a way to talk with you guys and to give back and to lend our expertise if that's the case, or even just a little bit of inspiration. So for me, just to wrap this up, I think the best thing about automotive television is that not only is it not dead, it's moved over to a format to where we are now accessible. And we can talk back to you guys, and we can say, hey, thanks. Or you can say, what about this? And I can say, no, don't use that reducer in that. So, I guess we got one more question, but I want to finish crystallizing this thought. I want to thank you guys for doing your tenure, doing your diligence in TV, and being here also.
Thank you.
But also thank you guys for watching all the shows. So help me, we'll do one more question.
So Eddie asked me if I had a question. I'd like to. I wanted to thank you guys for today. Awesome job. And I want to thank Eddie and his team for putting this together, because this is awesome. This is the best thing.
So you guys help me raise your voices, your hands. Noah Alexander, Charles Cruz, Shorty, Lou Santiago, I'm Kevin Tace. Thank you for hanging around, asking us some questions, and letting us spout off our wisdom. And thank you to Automotive Direct, AMD Garage for doing that stuff.